me are already operative, and his prediction is right on point. The question is, as we look at these things internationally, globally, as we do on all fronts, where does Bermuda fit into the larger scheme of things? And so that's what we're going to do tonight. We will tie and link Bermuda to some of the global events that are going on in our Christmas list, the next 5 years. So that's something for all of you. What will Bermuda look like the next 5 to 10 years? And what will Bermuda look like the next 5 to 10 years based upon the gifts you received this year? So what we're going to do, we're going to start off with the 5 predictions for the next 5 to 10 years. Listen up.
These things happen in the next 5 to 10 years. Or 10 to 20 years. Okay, I don't know the time frame, okay? I expect these things to happen. Okay, the first thing that's gonna happen in the Western world is decline of democracy and freedom. So remember, in the rise phase, society is democratic and open and meritocratic. But as you move on, it becomes more bureaucratic and ultimately authoritarian, okay? So we will see the United States, Europe become much more authoritarian. You will see a collapse of democracy and freedom in these nations. And already we're seeing this happen in the United States, where Trump is using more and more military to resolve issues, right? So that's the first prediction. And this is going to happen throughout the Western world. The second thing is economic collapse. So as people have less and less right to speak up, they feel less invested in the system, they're less willing to work. Therefore, you have economic collapse. People don't believe in the system anymore. And the system is in crisis. This will lead to immigration. The government is like, you know what, if the people don't want to work, screw them, let's bring in immigrants to do the work. Okay, let's replace the population. But the people are not going to sit back and take it, right? This leads to civil war. People are not killing each other on the streets. And the government is like, you know what? If we continue to let them fight, eventually they're gonna come after us. So what we'll do is send them off to like these stupid, pointless wars overseas. Okay? So now you have stupid wars. Stupid foreign wars. And these are my 5 predictions for the world for the next 5, 10, 20 years. Okay? Europe and America will see less freedom and democracy, the economic collapse, increased immigration, civil conflict, and then ultimately stupid foreign wars. I'm not saying this happens in a sequence. I'm saying you'll see all 5 things, okay? But they may happen in different order. Any questions? Was this clear to you guys? Yeah, thank you.
Is there any chance that the government tries to use it to distract people? They're trying to hide
Yeah, that's a great question, and the answer is that's what wars are for. It's to distract the people, right? Because if you don't distract the people, they'll come and revolt against you. So you either send them to a war, or you can have a French Revolution on your hands. Right? That's your option. War or revolution? I think war's a better option. That's why we're heading into a world at war. Okay, no, I'm saying like, if you don't send the people to war, they will revolt against you. So you send off to war to distract them, to get rid of them. Okay, there's no right and wrong here, okay, guys? Okay, all right. Okay, past is there's no right and wrong. There's no logic, okay? It's not like it is immoral to set mortal war. I know that. Thank you very much. Okay, but I'm trying to explain to you how power works. That's the theme of this course. I'm trying to explain to you how people in power think and behave. All right? And again, I keep on saying this. I don't know if I'm right. But what I'm doing is I'm presenting a theory, a model that can use to make predictions. And if these predictions work out, if it has to happen, then our model, there's some accuracy to our model, okay? We'll have to refine our model, but there's some accuracy to it. But hey, if tomorrow Trump, Putin, Xi all get together and says, let's be best friends, then I'm wrong, right? Okay? So that's what we're trying to do in this class. We're not trying to argue what is right, what is wrong, what is just, because quite honestly, it doesn't matter, right? Morality doesn't matter here. It's about power. We're trying to understand how the world works. And if we do that, then maybe we can work together and build a more just world. But first we need to figure out how the world really, really works. Okay? Any more questions?
There you have it. So, here are the 5 again in the next 5 to 10 years. First, decline of democracy and freedom. The second one, he said, economic collapse. The third, immigration issues. The fourth, civil war. And the fifth, foreign wars. Now, he put that out there as prediction. If we are attuned to the present moment, he's pretty accurate. So, what we're going to do, let's take the first one, Commission, and anyone else out there. Decline of democracy and freedom. I know that here in the colony, we believe that we engage and enjoy lots of democracy.
Yeah.
That's what we believe. We also believe that we're free. And there's equity. And we see the assault on democracy globally. When we say globally, in the West. And, we've been talking about America itself. Authoritarianism. You heard him speak. We've moved from an openness to bureaucratic to the authoritarian oligarchy. Shoot, Rolf. We're reliving our childhood. The oligarchy are back. All right? So, given your astute political analysis, the decline of democracy. And by the way, we still have to vet the so-called sovereignty document that was done, that the government had, I forget the gentleman's name, but it's been sitting, right? What are we on now? This is 2025, so we're talking about 3-4 years now, right? So, on the evidence of what you just heard, and looking at a lot of what you've been writing about on social media, the decline of the democracy. Give us some of your political analysis in the context of that.
Well, before I go global, I want to thank you, Lou, for giving me this opportunity to be on your excellent show, especially considering the topic tonight. Let's start with Bermuda. So we had an election in 2017. And people are not going to believe this, but it's true. And courtesy of Tania Woolrich at the Parliamentary Registrar, she conveyed to me that, or she is the Parliamentary Registrar, she conveyed to me that between 2017's election and 2025's general election, we saw a 10,000. Well, actually, it's just under 11,000 drop in voter participation. Now think about that. Nearly 11,000 was 10,900 and something drop in voter participation between 2017 and 2025's election. Now, she didn't include 2020's election because that's an anomaly, according to her, in that 3 constituencies were not contested. So you do like for like as best you can, and between 2017 and 2025, you saw a 10,000 drop in voter participation. Now, that's extraordinary. I don't think you had 7,000 or 8,000 people leave here and go to the UK, for example, in only 7 or 8 years. Those who our beloveds who passed away, maybe it's 1,000 between the time. So I just think that people have just lost faith. I remember I wrote a piece the other day, and people may have read it. Go back about a couple of months ago, and there was a forum at Christ Church that I participated in, and you had our good friend Nikki Furbert Fox, okay, who has experienced a major impact in terms of the whole gang violence and stuff like that. And she says nothing ever changes, okay? And I think when I linked that to what I was writing about, I thought it was very apt because, and now I'm thinking that sentiment is what is driving the fact that for a lot of Bermudians, particularly black Bermudians, not exclusively, but a lot of them, they've lost faith in the government's ability to deliver change that affects them, particularly those who are at lower income, lower middle income. So that's part of it.
Let me just say this here. I mean, you've captured some of the decline accurately. Is it fair to say reflectively on this year, and our elections are our most democratic practices in the colony, even in neoliberal, neo-colonial states. Yeah. Yet, would you still say that on the evidence of what we were witness to this year, and I think you captured in your last statement that you just made, the apathy,
that's a good word,
is there in our people. The lack of faith, the disillusionment. So, and I think you started from 2017, did you?
2017, yeah.
To this year.
Yeah.
Right? And we take what 2017 reflected as a decline to this year, which certainly was.
Well, no, there was a massive maybe exaggeration to some degree. There was a big turnout in 2017. Sorry.
Oh.
People were enthusiastic.
Yeah, because I'm just saying
because they had especially some of the younger voters, they had their own UBP-like experience with the OBA. And we had the Progressive Day Party had a
clean sweep.
But it had somewhat of a more progressive agenda in terms of its platform. For example, commitments to healthcare restructuring. For example, cost of living commission being revitalized, and they were going to hit the ground running on that. the living wage, for example, that would counteract the fact that stagnant wages, as we see in the U.S., had taken grip here. Because they were using low-cost, low-skilled foreign labor to drive down wages. So people were excited about the commitments that were made, particularly that half or more, 60% of the electorate, particularly the black electorate, who are mostly found in low to lower middle income households.
So would you say from at this period of 2017, given the turnout, given the sweep, all of that, that was our openness period. Professor Yang just talked about, you see in democracy a progression of openness. That was our most open period in Bermuda. And we progressed to a more bureaucratic by the midterm.
No, I actually...
Up until where we are now.
Yeah. I'm not sure about that. I have to think about that a little more. But putting that aside, right? What has animated a lot of that also is the brutal cost of living driven by the massive rise of income and wealth inequality in Bermuda.
Okay, now you're moving to the economic collapse. I want to bring audience in our exchange and dialogue here, but go ahead.
Yeah, but
elaborate.
So let's get to the global context. What we're also seeing at the same time is a waning of what I would characterize as a sort of Anglo-American hegemony over global affairs, dominated by the U.S., but the UK is right there with that.
Absolutely.
Remember, so the UK is the empire that controlled a large part of the known world at the time of our grandparents, ruled Britannia. That baton was passed over to the U.S. By the time we get to the end of World War II. So that empire and Western dominance generally is waning. People may not understand this, but the West has been dominant in the world for the last 400 years. It starts with the move into the Atlantic and into the great unknown on the part of the Portuguese, firstly, then the Spanish. Then you add up the Dutch and the English. Later become the United Kingdom,
and that's a lot of the rich historiography that goes with this reign, if you want to call it that. To bring it to the current, to the present moment in our in the democracy.
Right. So it's representing a decline of Western dominance over the world. I mean, literally speaking, I'm not exaggerating. And you notice he framed his argument around the same thing, Western dominance. 400 years, okay? British and American dominance is the last maybe 250. With America is the last 80, 90 years as a unipower, but with the U.S.
Certainly for the U.S. in the last 250 years, but certainly, like you're saying, the last 90.
Right.
Yeah.
And Bermuda, so the center of world power was centered in the North Atlantic. Okay?
So we see let's place it in the context of where we see United States of America, who's always espoused democracy for all, still do. But in this period that we are in of its authoritarianism, its kingship, right? The waning of democracy, as Professor Yang spoke to, what we are bearing witness to again is the authoritarians wielding their power. It's all about their power, and the behaviors all speak to it. That lead to this decline.
And as the crisis increases, right? So I think he's speaking of what is called a polycrisis. On so many fronts, the crisis is evident, right? Decline is in the air. And the West cannot take those they always viewed as inferior by way of their conception of race, suddenly gaining a threat or becoming a threat to their dominance. That's why you're seeing what I call the resurgence of the ideology of white supremacy. That is the sort of operation manual of the rise of Western power and dominance over the last 400 years, and particularly now with the Anglo-Americans. Even as we're sitting here now, you talk about the endless wars. You have the, apparently Trump's going to be out there tonight speaking about the imminent attack on Venezuela, for example.
Yeah, we're getting ahead of ourselves. But that's a fun example. So I got you.
Yeah. So,
but
that's where we're at right now.
And recognizing where we are at, that's in the global context. Bring it on home for us, and listening audience, you could include yourself into this conversation. Well, we're taking the calls from here on in. What does it mean for this island in the global scheme of things of democracy that we like to play out in the colony?
Well, I think what Bermuda's future is going to be determined by this epochal shift that's taking place in the world. This is not just a sort of normal sort of era, having a recession here, that sort of thing. No, this is a sort of a shift that takes place globally with the decline of empires. Maybe every 200-300 years. See, this is what. So while we talk about things like, and again, get ahead of ourselves, maybe about the global minimum tax and all of that, right? Bermuda's booming economy. We have to understand that Bermuda's experienced,
and we're in a good space to make this transition from the democracy to the economic collapse that he spoke to.
But high concentration of wealth unleashed by Reagan and Thatcher in the early 80s. Which what led to what we commonly refer to as neoliberalism. Bermuda became an intrinsic part of the network that was established.
Well, interesting that you say that, because last week when I had Chuck Collins on, Burned by Billionaires, he spoke to that.
Yeah.
And he says, no, Bermuda is an example. Bermuda is very much right entrenched in it.
Listen, when Trump in his first term, Mega 2.0, his first term was not 1.0, it was 2.0. His 1.0, Mega 1.0 was Reagan. Come back to Reagan, Thatcher, okay? He gave a reduction in the taxes of multinational corporations, allowing them to repatriate profits back to the U.S. That was in his first term. Guess which jurisdictions, offshore financial center, repatriated the most back to the U.S.? 30% of it came from Bermuda, a full 30%. Okay? Bermuda has a financialized economy that's similar to the financialized economies in the U.S. and in the UK. And it's all part of a network, right? That's why they talk about what financialized economies have done is led to the decline of the industrialization of both the US and the UK, right? It has led to the decline of manufacturing. Everything centers around the neoliberal market is God philosophy, where everything is about the financial side of the economy. And that's a problem which leads to massive amounts of growth of income and wealth inequality. And out of that comes the growth of oligarchy and people controlling vast amounts of wealth, because the reality is, what defines income and wealth inequality? It means you have more income and wealth going to fewer and fewer hands. That's where you get the rise of oligarchy. And the next stage after that is plutocracy and plutocrats.
Well, recognizing all these stages, and I put it to the listening audience to answer this question. On the evidence, what you've just spoke to, what we have experienced in this year, this year, and are we on the cusp of a global economic collapse? Or when we look at, certainly on the evidence on the adjusted budget surplus expected to be $6 million more. The article that was in the Royal Gazette on the 13th or the 14th? Yeah. Fiona McWhirter, news editor, Royal Gazette. The Honorable Premier makes it clear we have an expanding economy, a strong labor market, job growth was credited for driving a revised government revenue projection of $1.47 billion for 25-26, almost $40 million more than the original estimate.
Yeah.
That sounds very, very good for Bermuda. That sounds, it leaves and gives an impression, well, it says growth, and we want growth. But as people are told that there is this growth, simultaneously people are bemoaning that they don't see or feel the evidence of this growth. So when we are told a strong labor market and job growth, we're in IB?
Yes, definitely. Your financialized economy is centered around, it's called internationally offshore financial centers, and Bermuda is almost at the top of the mountaintop in terms of being one of the most valued. This is the Anglo-American piggy bank, as I just described. And in those financialized economies, it creates a lot of income and wealth inequality. I keep repeating that. I want people to understand why that is important, because that is the world that was created out of Reagan and Thatcher. Many of us who are of a certain age, we remember the time when Bermuda, under John Swan as the leader, signed a so-called tax treaty with the U.S., that basically allowed for the nature of our economy, the nature of the international business that we have. Bermuda had been involved in stuff like that before with respect to Henry Tucker and those guys. It was a trust business, They allowed people to park money here and essentially pay little or nothing in taxes. Bermuda was a premier tax haven, and one can make the case that it still is. But it's tied into the whole London, New York, Bermuda, Cayman axis that becomes a sort of new piggy bank for the Anglo-Americans. At the same time, they're moving their manufacturing over to China, which allows for the rise of China. And so they're making tremendous amounts of money. That's the economy that Bermuda is a part of. And has been very successful for those at the top. But now this is where you have this juxtaposition between the very positive declarations by the premier against a backdrop of the following. And you have to put in the racial disparity piece here. You have to make that intersection, because the people you're talking about who are feeling disillusioned, who are feeling overwhelmed, who are feeling stressed out by the economy that is not servicing their needs, are mostly black Bermudians, okay? And that has been a real problem. 5,800 Bermudians who have left the country over the last 15 years. They left Bermuda. Most of them are black Bermudians. They've gone to the UK. We don't know how many have gone west between Canada, down to St. Kitts, Dominican Republic, Jamaica, and the rest. So add another 1,000 to that. But that's a sign that Bermuda's economy is not as sustainable as it should be. Look at your housing, for example. Look at your health care.
Well, let's dig a little deeper with that. The housing and the health care in the context of this growth, but also against the prediction of collapse. Credit to the government of Bermuda. They're giving some attention to housing. Forum was on last night. Want to hear from you, the listening audience. Anyone who attended that forum last night up there in the West End, over at Bowes Island, where we use the term container homes, but those aren't, I don't call them container homes. Those are modular homes, given what was shared last night. So there are attempts to address our housing issue. That's a start. That's a start. In this economic growth, is that enough to warrant our people, I wouldn't say feeling satisfied, but to warrant our people to take the gas, like they take the foot off the pedal a little, or pressure on the government, because we tend to do that. I listen to folk and I credit okay, that's some modernized housing on that property on Bowes Island Village area. What are some of the sentiments in terms of addressing this issue as we talk about the growth in the economy, finding decent housing for our people? Housing also goes with job growth or finding jobs for people. As a political analyst and commentator, observing this here, and as someone also who in February ran as an independent.
As an MP for 8 years before that.
Okay, and MP, yeah. Well, how do you, and what would you do in the same circumstance?
Oh, I think this divide, is it's almost like you have, we had this. Remember the statement or this sort of slogan we used to use here more often, go back a few years ago, not that long, but a few years ago, about two Bermudas. Well, you got two economies. Okay, I repeat again, Bermuda, I want you to understand. My black Bermudans, I want you to understand what I'm saying here. Income and wealth inequality is going through the roof in Bermuda. 5,800 Bermudians, mostly black, have left here, right? So one could say that gentrification is taking place. Okay, that's a classic symptom of a neoliberal economy. And you have one of the most neoliberal economy because you have a financialized economy centered around IB. They say that IB now is sort of represents about 50% of your economy. I think that's an understatement. But moreover, okay, your GDP per capita. I know for some of you out there, it's like I'm speaking Polish, okay? Your GDP per capita is $138,935. Okay? That's
fourth largest.
Fourth largest in the world. The only countries that have a higher GDP per capita than you are, I think, a few of the petroleum-producing states in the Middle East, okay? Canada doesn't have a higher GDP per capita than you. The U.S., France, go down the list. Western Europe.
None of the CARICOM countries.
None. So when I hear people talking about, and these are black Bermudians who I consider part of the financial and political elite, and there are not a lot of them because that's where Bermuda has failed tremendously over the last 4 decades. Talk about people want government to do everything. Well, Jesus, hallelujah. Your GDP indicates that you should be doing everything for the least of you. You hear me? That's what your GDP should be saying. And I'll give you an example. Canada's GDP is $70-something thousand, okay? Per capita, I should say, right? Free healthcare for all of their people. Yours is $138,000, no free healthcare, except for those who work in IB. That's where the whole income and wealth inequality is emanating from. Okay, this is the same thing that's happened in the U.S., happened in the U.K., and in many countries around the world. Barbados, GDP per capita, $28,000. I thought it was high on myself, but it's not. Guess what? Every citizen of Barbados has free health care. Poverty is a political choice. What are your priorities and priorities of your government and your opposition, for example? But anyway, this is the economy that we are grappling with. It's an economy that has not caused a more equitable distribution of income and wealth. That's one of the reasons why I advocated for a living wage, to counterbalance that other trend that has taken over the country. and has hurt a lot of people. That has led to, again, the mass migration. You have to say mass migration because your population is not that big. 7,300 people without health care. I repeat, and though that's the black Bermudians without health care. 7,300. We knew back in 2018 that it was around 5,000. It's 7,300 now. Okay? And a lot of those people are seniors who just can't afford even the future care anymore. So this is a crisis. The poly crisis is already here. It's the same poly crisis, and it's all coming from the same international trend that has its roots in the 80s. But anyway, globally, who knows what's going to happen here? You see that when you hear crazy stuff like with the Europeans, right? They know their populations are declining because their populations are aging. Hey, it sounds just like Bermuda, okay? But their racism, their white supremacy, their view of the world precludes them from accepting African migrants and their Islamophobia, from accepting workers coming from countries where Islam is prevalent, right? To bring greater productivity to their economies, okay? That's the world we're living in now. Identity means everything, and white supremacy is resurgent. Look at what you're hearing with Trump, for example. Today I heard about the World Cup coming up, and they've now issued a directive from the White House, I believe, where was it Senegal or Ivory Coast?
Well, this gets into the immigration issue now.
Yeah, the immigration issue, right?
Yeah, he has identified what, 5 to 6 African states now banned,
and Iran,
has implications for certainly World Cup issue. Please hold, caller. And ties into, yes, we're Yang's issue of democracy in decline is spoken to already. When we talk about the economic collapse, that's still pending. And it's still pending by even some of the events that we see going on in the Caribbean Sea. So I mean, we're going to get into some of that.
And the state of the dollar.
And the state of the dollar.
Yeah, right?
Exactly.
The dollar is a reserve global currency. That happens in most of these empires over the last 500-600 years. The Dutch guilder was the world's reserve currency to some degree.
Right.
The British pound certainly was. Now it's the dollar. And it's being threatened by the rise of BRICS.
There you go.
Okay?
Caller. Good night.
Good evening, Dr. Luke.
Good evening.
Bro.
Good evening.
The PLP promised a while back that they were going to put housing up at Morgan's Point. I don't know if you can recall that they had a picture in the Royal Gazette on the front page showing your architect picture of what they were going to put up there.
Yeah, my understanding that fell apart when all that deal, because I know was some 2,000. What was it, homes or something was targeted for that property.
Where was that?
In Morgan's Point. In Morgan's Point.
Yes, okay.
And I remember even at the beginning of the year, I started off with Mr. Nelson Hunt, and he shared much of what you just spoke to. Go ahead, elaborate.
Well, right. That place up there is huge. Now, the 80 acres that government gave them, that's the part that was the...
Gave who? Gave who? You mean Dupereau and Mr...
Yes, yeah, when they exchanged the
Mabry?
property for that piece at Morgan Point.
Christensen.
Now, the part where they were building the hotel that failed, and we had to pay the $165 million guarantee.
The hotel?
Yes.
Okay, 165, 167 million guarantee?
Right.
On the property, yeah.
Right. Leaving that out. Take that 80 acres, push it to the side. In addition to that, there's a tremendous amount of property up there besides that 80 acres.
Yes.
That place is massive. I don't know if you've been out there. I've been out there several times.
Oh, yeah.
It's huge. It's huge. Now, the PLP government said, I couldn't remember the date, but somebody said it was July 23. They promised to put housing up there. Being it was the housing shortage, they will put housing up there.
Right.
right? We're waiting for them to put this thing together to start building these houses at Morgan Point.
Or even to finish that development that's there. I mean, those
well, if they were going to do something, if they were going to, in order to get the money back to take that over,
the challenge was finding investors, which I find very.
Then you could finish that off and maybe put additional housing there for people to have. The thing that 350 families need housing. The saying 72 families is critical and 192 is urgent.
Let me ask you this here, given that you're running off some of these.
And I was at the meeting last night too.
You were. Well, I want to get some insight from you on it, but let me ask you this question, and I don't know if you can chime in on this here, because again, when I think of the Morgan's Point property in the context of our economic development and so forth, why do you think it's been so difficult to get investors to complete part of that property that government intervened on? What's been so difficult to get investors for that property? That's prime real estate. You know, when I listen to and look at what's going on in the Caribbean right now, and we'll take our family nation in St. Kitts and Nevis especially.
My view on that.
Let me just say, what's his name? Gates has taken over. What is it? The Four Seasons.
800 employees.
800 employees. What? And Nevis is what? 11,000 population there.
Roughly, yeah.
800 employees, and I just find it interesting that we have found it very difficult to find investors other than those who got their deal out of that property.
It's my view that it was meant or deliberately meant to fail so that they could get that money, that 165 million guarantee. That's the way I feel about it. Because look at it this way. In the beginning, we swapped over 37 acres of Southland and gave them 80 acres up there to build a hotel and a golf course. And what did they do? They let the hotel part of it fail, and they took in the 37 acres, and they took 43 acres and put it into a trust to make it difficult for anybody to get, so that they could build on it. And that prime property up there, and who you think will be able to buy those 43 lots that they've put there?
I see.
Not you and me.
I see that property.
Millionaires and billionaires that will be able to buy that and put big houses on that property. I believe that it was done intentional for that to fail.
Yeah, well, you know,
that's my view on that.
Yeah, Carla, you know, the thing is, I mentioned the term gentrification, right, a few minutes ago before you called. That's what is happening. That is what has drove over 5,000 mostly black Bermudians out of the country in only 15 years. I mean, it's not like we have a population of 150,000 people, you know. Huh?
You see that area becoming gentrified?
Well, based on what he just said, you know, I mean, why wouldn't it be? Why wouldn't that follow the trends we're already seeing?
Yeah.
Now look at this. Look at this point. They're bringing in now, talking about they want to bring in these containerized modules.
Okay.
But look where they want to put them. That one in Burrs Island, they want to keep it close to the shoreline, right? The water side is, they said it's 10 feet above sea level.
All right.
Right? People's concern, one of the concerns was hurricanes. We know a hurricane can create waves 25 to 40 feet high.
Well, and plus we do know that area in terms of Bulls Island Village suffers flooding.
It's low lying, very low.
Yeah, they suffer a lot of flooding during hurricanes.
And if a hurricane came and hit that area, I envision those units floating inland.
as we you were there last night. Let me ask you this here. You were there last night, you said, and when we think in terms of growth and economic development, the need for housing, all of that, with what you heard, right, and what you just described, these are container modular homes that are coming from China. From what I know, some of them, depends. I don't know, but the ones that I saw featured in the model, they look nice. But of course, when you're talking about, I think persons that I've spoken to, they quoted anywhere between 25 to 50,000 costs for these modular homes.
I don't like them, and here's why I don't like them.
Go ahead.
They're too small. They're only going to be 1 and 2 bedrooms. Right? Nobody builds 1 bedroom units anymore. They're so small. The kitchen is so small, you almost have to walk in and back out. Now, they said that it has a refrigerator in it and a microwave. So somebody asked the question, well, wait a minute, not everybody eats microwave food.
But this is low. Yeah, but that's something that people can always, just an amenity that people can choose to take out.
Here's my point on these units. Going back, they promised to build units in Morgan's Point. Now they want to put units into black areas that are already built up and overcrowded. They're saying that it's some places in Middletown that already being demolished or going to be demolished, and they're going to put these units there. Why Middletown?
But Caller, if I may,
hold on, Caller.
You're bringing up a good issue because we got short memories here. I remember when the American consul up at Great Bay was situated. That's where they were. That's where the residence was, and it was up for sale. The PLP had taken over power. It might have been like 2009 when that issue. I think it was already on the radar screen before the PLP won in 1998. I remember going public and saying that the PLP government, newly installed maybe by 18 months, should buy the property and use it to produce mixed income housing.
That was part of the plan for Morgan's Point, the original plan.
Alex Scott was the minister works or something. Right, thanks. That's right. Yeah, and what happened? They ended up making some of the same arguments or taking on the arguments of those largely whites in that neighborhood who were dead set against having too many lower to middle income black Bermudians living in the neighborhood. Let's be honest about it. You see? So, you're spot on there, and I'm glad you made that observation. Go ahead.
But let me just, and I brought it to the attention last night. Let me be another one.
Go ahead.
Where the nursery used to be up by the St. David's Battery.
Okay.
It's already congested. The condos up there. Now they want to put housing where that nursery used to be. Doesn't put housing there. It started already.
So you're saying last night that was some of the things that were discussed also?
I brought that up.
Oh, okay.
Because that place is congested. During the cricket season, when the field is all filled up, sometimes you get people parking on the road.
Yeah.
They're going to put more people up there with housing, and it's congested. If you want to go work or come out, you might have a difficult time if somebody's parked on the wider section off that road, which is so narrow. But they keep saying you got properties where you can put housing, and you keep jamming black people in places like Middletown, St. David's Battery. It's no room. Why are you doing that? It reminds me of when they were going to build Tynes Bay. The UBP member, the lawyer lady, she said when they were thinking about putting Tynes Bay out at Mills Creek, they said, not in my backyard. Put it down in those black people's neighborhood, down in Pembroke, Devonshire. And they continue to do that. And now they're starting to do it again. Then the minister says last night, well, Morgan's Point is hooked up in some legal ramifications. That's an untruth. It's only that 80 acres or the 37 acres. The rest of it is not, because it's contradicting itself, right?
But the rest of it is also under the hands, isn't it? My understanding that Dupereau
But
and
listen to this carefully. No, it's only that 37 acres.
Yeah, there's a whole nother tranche of acreage that you're talking about.
Listen
Yeah.
carefully. But listen carefully. His saying it's under legal this and that. It's not, because you've invited, or a company from America has come here and wants to build at Morgan's Point a $400 million hospital.
Yes.
Tourist hospital.
Medical tourism.
In addition, they're talking about putting a residential unit there for Leroy House. No, you at the meeting last night talking about it's illegal. No, you're not telling the truth. It's only that 37 acres plus that 43 that's in contention. The rest of it is free and clear for government to build houses on, and they're refusing to do it. You got space down there in the back there, some space down by Lambsburg. You got other areas in Southside. You got other places that you can do, but you see them consistently. Now they're doing exactly what the UBP government was doing. So this PLP government now seems to want to take and jam black people in black areas that are already built up and already crowded, and you want to jam these little module things in there.
Well, look, I want you to pause right there. Feel free to call back. Right? I want to stretch the conversation and take it into the immigration issue, because there are some connections to what you're talking about. I mean, you know, Rob, you've been bringing up the issue of gentrification. That's immigration connections to it also.
Let me just say this
real quick. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Thank you, Cole.
If you, I don't know how good your memory is, but if you recall, the UBP, you still there?
Yeah, we're here. Go ahead.
Yeah. The UBP, they played this game where they used the National Stadium for 25 years as a political football. Oh, we're going to fix it up. And they didn't. Then the PLP got there. The money wasn't there to finish it. Now the PLP appears to be doing the same damn thing that these people are doing. You know, making these promises. They're going to do this, do that, and breaking these promises. Let me skip. If you're driving on the road, Bermuda's roads are so congested with traffic. It's got to be at least 60,000 plus vehicles on Bermuda's road. Traffic coming out of St. George's now is so congested, like it's unbelievable. And
but Caller, it can't be. It can't be.
Where you gonna put 8,000 people? You want to talk about? You want the Chamber of Commerce gentleman, pizza man, talking about we need more people on the island. Where you gonna put them?
I want you pause. I want you pause. I want to open it up because you brought up Mariko Thomas. You said the pizza man. I think that's who you're talking about, because I was going to cite something from Mariko on this issue.
Hold on, caller.
But feel free to call back as we stretch it. But elaborate, Rolf. Go ahead.
No, I just want to say this. I mean, look, you have PLP politicians. I could never believe this when I was hearing this, right? Some of my former colleagues. This is the mantra. Look, these people, they just want, they always want to depend on government, okay? Like government's supposed to do everything for them. Y'all got a GDP per capita of $138,935, and you got a nerve to say that amongst the people that put you in power? Something's wrong here. This economy is unbalanced, and it's causing havoc. And let me tell you this, Bermuda, and I hope you're all sitting down out there. Gang formation and gang violence and capital crimes, as in murders, are connected to all of this, because it's coming out of low-income, lower middle-income households, only within Bermuda's black community, okay? That's the reality of what income and wealth inequality, when it's going through the stratosphere, does to communities. It creates poverty, it erodes your middle income, your middle class, and it causes adverse impacts that are destructive to those at the bottom of income distribution. And those are people who look like you. And unless you deal with that, the cycle's just going to continue.
We have a strong labor market and job growth. Hold on.
Strong labor market.
This is what's being said, and I'm going to share something. And given that the caller cited, he spoke to, he didn't really cite Mariko Thomas, but Mariko did say this here. He said, someone asks, if hundreds apply for a government job, how can we have a worker shortage? The answer, the jobs people apply for in government are not the same jobs that go unfilled in hospitality, healthcare, construction, or essential services. Now, Ralph, when we hear that, and the question earlier that was asked in terms of this job growth, you stated definitely there's job growth associated more with IB, right? Job growth in the areas of hospitality, healthcare, construction, or essential services. Do we see job growth in those areas for Bermudians?
No, I think that's the problem. You don't see. I think the stat, I can't remember off the top of my head, but the stat is that that stat represents very little. I mean, embarrassingly little of job growth for Bermudians. Okay, maybe we're getting to the end state of this sort of gentrification trend. Are we getting to the point now where income and wealth inequality is taking its
Please hold, caller.
most destructive impact upon those
Turn
at
your
the
radio
bottom of income distribution who are black Bermudians?
Right. Turn your radio down.
And
we can't take this in our ear.
Yeah. And I might add, Cayman's now crying. Okay? Cayman in some ways was worse than us when it comes to, bending over backwards at the expense of your own people and your own interests for those who are coming in to take advantage of your country, which is a beautiful country, which has a great economy. But when you get to a point where the country is serving foreign workers at all levels, more than it's doing your own people, you have an unbalanced economy. And that's what a financialized economy does.
Caller.
Yeah. I'm going to say it one more time. I hope a lot of Bermudians will listen.
Go ahead.
What happened to the dormitories?
The dormitories?
Tucker's Point, you got Tucker's Point down there, right? That's building and bringing in people by the thousand. You got the, what you would call them, the pizza man. It's got about 19 shops. It's bringing in all these people. Why don't they have dormitories? They used to have them back in the day.
Right.
And that's where the foreign workers could stay. That will free up a lot of the houses. And then when you free up a lot of the houses, the people can't charge that big rent. Because right now, everybody, all these guys are staying in outside in different houses every time you look.
Or I'm glad you brought that up, caller. Or why not also make some of the dormitory living accessible to Bermudians who work for the hotel?
That was always the case. Back in the day. What I'm trying to say is you got Rosemont, right? Rosemont, Point, right? They knocked down the dormitory. And really the dormitories were, they have nothing. But yet, they're building houses on the edge of the rocks, so these big mansions and all that. Why can't government say, okay, you're going to build all this there, you're going to do that? Why can't they say, look, you got to build dormitories for the staff before you do anything, or make some type of, deal with them? It's so simple. That will free up a lot of the houses. It's so simple.
But cousin,
cousin. One more thing. Every hotel back in the day, and you on my age, you remember, they used to go out and party to them. Harleans at dormitories.
All of
Castle
them.
Harbor.
All of them.
All
of them, yeah.
And that's where the foreign worker was working. The houses were free. Now they knocked them down. You allow them to knock them down. And then where people can stay? In your regular houses. So now you got a housing shortage.
Because
come on.
Cousin, I want you to listen here, okay? That's not the fundamental problem. The fundamental problem, and Mr. Thomas has been part of that, along with so many others in hospitality, owners, managers, etc., is the fact that for the last quarter century, maybe 30 years, they've been bringing in low-cost, low-skilled foreign labor, to medium-skilled maybe sometimes, to drive down wages. What is it that black Bermudians don't get about that? I even hear Chris Famous talking a lot of crap, right? That's the issue.
You're right.
That's the fundamental problem. And unless you deal with that systemic problem, the cycles that have afflicted our own neighborhoods is going to continue.
And then tell me something. Wasn't this supposed to be some sort of plan, whereas you bring them in and they train Bermudians and then they leave?
Train Bermudians? What they got to train Bermudians for?
No, that was the plan.
Yeah.
Because they don't know how to do it.
Let me tell you.
Bring me in and train the Bermudians. And then, you can make a pizza.
The present, that's right, exactly. The present status quo, it benefits a small clique, a small number. It's like a racket, okay? And you have those on both sides of the political aisle who are complicit in it. But it's causing havoc. It's causing a lot of misery, depression, and a whole lot of hurt in your own community.
Immigration, cheap labor. Yeah.
Anyway, I'm gonna go.
All right, my brother. Appreciate the. Yeah, thanks a lot.
5,800.
All right.
5,800 mainly black Bermudians have left the country because of this.
Yeah. Good night, you and all friends.
Yeah. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Yes. Good evening, Rolf. Commissioner, I do agree with you on the statement you made about the gentleman that just employs people from all over the world before he will hire a Bermudian. And Mr. Commissioner, you're absolutely right, because it's based on low wages and also the treatment of these workers, which is an important point also.
When I say jump, you know,
So you're saying
how high?
You're saying for the immigrant worker that's brought in, it's easier to mistreat them.
People of Bermuda, you better believe it, Brother Lou and Rolf. It's true. I've seen it myself.
Of course.
And it's not nice because it's dominance.
But they're not unionized people. And the union, I was going to say something about the union, because they're saying unions are dying right now. But
I agree.
Certainly, they're not, many of those folk who are brought here, they're not unionized. So
no, they're not.
Yeah.
And
they're not protected.
Right, that's right. And, but the money that they send back home is like gold. Because
Of course.
it's so valuable.
Of course. Of course.
And maybe Mr. Commissioner could speak on this. The amount of money that leaves this country every Friday. Girl.
Yeah, but if I may, cousin, listen. I always try to tell my people do not focus on these poor foreign workers. Although in other sectors of the economy, they're not. Wait, let me finish. No, I just want to add this. I'll let you talk. Focus on the employers who have been benefiting from this for decades. Okay, and they're both in the hotels and in the restaurant industry. But guess what? The trend also started spreading to construction and landscaping. Okay?
Definitely.
That's
definitely.
right. And I'll tell you, let me say this one more time. Don't think Bermuda, and I want you all to hear me out there, that what we're describing here, this brother here and the brother that told earlier, don't think that this isn't connected to gang formation and gang violence. Where else are these young boys supposed to work? And the PLP's been complicit in this, okay? And the OBA. It's like you got a uni party, one party protecting the interests of capital.
I got something radical. It may not be as radical. Don't go anywhere, caller, because I want your insight. I want your insight on this. I want your insight on this here because you raised something that has me thinking about it before I take the next caller. Look like an overseas caller. We just spoke to immigrant workers, low income, right? I see a cycle of cultural reproduction in Bermuda's workforce. What do I mean? I find it very interesting. When you were MP, was part of the discussions in the House with you in terms of government reducing the size of civil service. Right? I have a prediction. I'm foretelling. I see a cycle of the civil service probably in the next 10 years, I will not be surprised, and you see some evidence of it now, I will not be surprised you see an influx of civil servants from UK.
Yeah.
Why do I say that?
Yes.
Why, and I'm going to say this, why the UK right now are also experiencing their, I can't call it brain drain, but their youth drain, who unemployed, right?
Yep.
Are leaving, just as we have, you speak about Bermudians going to the UK, but the UK have many of their youth leaving the UK, going to parts of Eastern Europe, or going to maybe Italy, Netherlands,
Australia.
right? Australia, big one, New Zealand. That's where they're going, because the youth population are dissatisfied in terms of employment. I see the colonies. I see the colonies becoming the new attraction for that youth demographic that's leaving the UK in the next 5 years.
Oh, Bermuda has been paradise for them for the last 4 or 5 decades of the modern era.
Well, I see, but I see, based on what you said, we're talking about, Carl. I mean, we see the surgeons in terms of construction, hospitality, but I see it also coming for civil servants.
Yeah, but
in Bermuda, I see that demographic.
Yeah.
I see the demographic within civil service changing for Bermuda in the next 5 to 10 years.
But wait now, but English migrants, amongst black Bermudians, some of them, they're fine. They belong here.
Okay.
Yeah,
I hear your sarcasm.
But bringing an African or somebody from the Caribbean, oh my God.
I hear your sarcasm.
Yeah.
I'm going to bring in the African and the Caribbean, especially in this time of hostility in the Caribbean Sea. Close it out for me, Carl. I want to take the overseas caller.
I'll close it out, and I appreciate it. But see, you want to take an overseas person ahead of me. So it's the same thing. But we're talking about.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't worry about, not Ralph, Brother Luke, don't worry about the overseas caller. I'm a Bermudian. I'm here. You understand?
But I'm saying overseas caller could be a Bermudian too. Most of them who call in are Bermudians who are overseas.
Oh, Lord.
I got you. Go ahead.
That was a joking moment. But I'll just close on this. And a lot of it has to do with representation.
Yeah.
Do you know that a lot of people come to this country and they're represented by unions and all sorts of things, and when they get to Bermuda, they don't want no parts of it?
All the time.
Hey, Eva Hudson told us how many times that when these English migrants came here, right, they could be just sort of, maybe lower class, maybe lower middle income types,
Yeah.
And when when they were coming in here in the 60s and 70s and 80s, they came into a place that represented an absolute racial paradise for them, because no matter what sort of class status they had in the UK, in Bermuda, they knew that that race, i.e. white, trumped class. And they were going to be doing very well here. And they have. Many of them are still here. Right. Now they got their children and grandchildren, everybody.
And Rolf, I hope you don't mind me calling you Rolf.
No,
because I respect everybody. True that. I'm going to end on this. And you just touched on a thing that I was going to bring up. So we brought in teachers and policemen from the Caribbean and England. And Rolf is absolutely right. They're still here. And to retire.
Like I said last week.
Yes. Teachers and police from Caribbean.
Hey.
And from England.
I don't care what people say.
Right.
Their best life is right here on this rock.
No, there's no doubt. And then
thanks a lot, caller.
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, same here. Thanks, brother.
Caller, I appreciate your patience. Go ahead.
Good day, sir. Can you hear me?
I hear you clearly.
Okay, Ralph Commission, this is one of your best.
Yes, sir.
Well, we lost you? One of your best?
Was that?
I think we lost
Is that the overseas call you were talking?
Yeah, that's the overseas caller. We lost him.
Call back.
You're still here. Look, we lost you, man. We don't know what you said. You said, Ralph Commission, you're one of your best. Are you there? You got a bad connection. You're going to have to try. You must be on your cell phone on the highway.
Try back, yeah.
Yeah, try back. You keep going in and out. But go ahead.
The polycrises, right?
Oh, here he is. Are you there?
In full effect. Bermuda.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
We hear you clearly, but go ahead.
Okay. I want to say to Ralph, thank you, sir. I don't know if you've been getting messages directly or indirectly, but I've been asking for somebody to put Ralph Commission on a platform, not a fact, but the gain reduction meeting. Why on God's earth are they having these meetings without Ralph Commission?
Well, Ralph Commission's been having his own panels too, man. He's been doing some of his own things.
Granted, but you see, I think, and no, don't want to get tied up in all that. And the reason why I'm saying is, Ralph, this is Dwayne Santucci calling from overseas. Let me tell you something.
Hey,
I remember
neighbor.
Ralph writing a paper. Ralph wrote a paper prior, I think, Ralph, you can correct me, I think it was in the early 90s, mid-90s. And I got a copy of that paper, and Ralph predicted what was going to come of Bermuda within the next 30 to 40 years. And we talked, and back then we were talking about the young males that were losing, or the children that were losing their fathers to AIDS.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then it trickled down into the gun violence, all of that.
I remember that paper because you're right on point, because he pointed out that was a demographic that I call them the ghost generation of young black men, because they just disappeared off the island.
Hey, Dwayne,
through AIDS.
Let me show you where I'm going.
Good.
Mr. Austin Thomas on the floor of the house. Mr. Austin Thomas was in the house, spoke on the floor of the house, and he also predicted what was coming to Bermuda and told you what it was going to come. We're going to come down to the haves and the have-nots in this country because it's all about white supremacy. Do you think there's a drug problem in Bermuda?
Absolutely.
And let me clarify. There is no drug problem in Bermuda when it comes to supply and demand. Do you see white people getting arrested around here? Do you see private jets, besides the one that we're waiting for the case to come forth, being found with drugs? Do you see pleasure crafts that are being, and I'm going somewhere with this, you'll see where I'm going. One of the biggest problems we have in this country is the fact that the black community doesn't have access to the economic pie because we are being taken advantage. The powers that be are taking advantage of the disadvantage. I got so much I want to say, but I can't. You've got a premier who's also the finance minister. That's one thing we have to learn to change, because that to me should never have been. And that was under every leadership before now. David Burke, to me, and this is allegedly seemingly for legality, he bows to white supremacy. He don't give a flying F about none of us. Okay? And at the end of the day, let's keep it real. The problems we have in Bermuda, you have housing crisis. You got people sleeping in cars, tents, the track, abandoned buildings, caves. But yet you got the minister the other day come on the air, talk about the schools that just closed down. We're going to leave them empty because of the simple fact that we might revert them back to school in a couple years to come. But meantime, you got over 1,500 people homeless.
Hey, Dwayne.
And you can't put them in temporary shelters. You're talking about putting these damn containers here and everywhere. They ain't go off this damn money.
Hey, Dwayne.
At the end of the day, man, open these schools and put some people in these places while you are maintaining these buildings. Get these people somewhere to stay.
Dwayne.
Thank you, brother Santucci.
No, leave him on a second. Okay. Hey, Dwayne.
Let me finish with this. David Burke flies all around the world and is proud about his GDP, and then he goes around here telling you about the damn the pension or the increases. Just as quick as the pensioners get the increase, what are they doing? Now you're telling me that your health premiums are going to go up in spring for $40 million that you just paid out to the hospital, and top staff of the hospital is getting money at the yin-yangs and perks, no different from the politicians. The pimpiness around here, and all we are, politically speaking, for legalities, is being prostituted by political pimps.
There you go, my brother.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. You know, Satucci brings up, you know, in terms of, I'm glad he brought up about the insurance issue, right? Of course, the taxpayer picks that tab up. Now, again, when you think in terms of whatever increases that you get, well, that's how your tax, my people. That's your tax.
7,300 people.
When you talk about please hold, caller. When you talk about you know, in terms of the corporate income tax, that it is speculated that the next receipt is predicted some 200 million. I mean, we just saw some Christmas gifts given to the social clubs. So it's Christmas time, 1-point-something million divided between them. Yes, they can use it for development, for whatever other purposes, hopefully for development, physical and youth development, that those funds are used for. But again, all of this is linked to, yes, the democracy, the economic collapse or the economic expansion, the economic growth that we talk about, and certainly the role that immigration plays on our economy in Bermuda. Go ahead, caller.
Yes, good evening and very lively discussion this evening, gentlemen.
Thank you, sir.
I'd like to, you know, if you all could speak to something that came, I listened to the news maybe 2 weeks or so ago.
Go ahead.
Prior to that, there was a motion table pathway to status, but yet the other day, which was shut down, but yet the other day I see this business of the Minister of Labor and Immigration setting residency. Okay, I'd like to speak to that. And what are the demographics and who's able to put up the type.
You said the labor minister selling residency?
Yes. And the immigration and labor minister saying how they're setting up to plan to sell residency in Bermuda.
Oh, yeah, permanent residency. You mean selling permanent residency?
Selling it.
Yeah.
Selling it. Yeah, but who can afford that?
Well, again, if they're talking about selling it, that's something comparable that you see going on down in the Caribbean. Very much a CARICOM practice, by the way.
Another nail in Bermudian's coffin.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
That's very much a CARICOM practice right now in terms of selling permanent residency. And when you talk about you're selling permanent residency, you got to be in a certain income bracket to do that. Yeah.
And you know, that caller is spot on, because let me tell you something, right? It's bad public policy.
Another way of immigration. That's another creative way of immigration.
Fueled by cowardice, I might add. That has led to the driving of 5,800 Bermudians out of Bermuda. Bad public policy. Most of them are black. They're now selling permanent residency certificates. There are two tranches, I think, right? Firstly, you had those who have been here for 10 years, who for, I think it was a nominal fee, it was only $1,000.
Yeah.
Right? Something like that. Who could get permanent residency certificates. That was the people in IB who have been here for 10 years, some of the workers there, professionals. Then you had those who, you know, some of these workers like the Filipinos and others and Jamaicans who have been here for 10 years and they were able to. The second group, I think, is what he's referring to. That came a little later. That is analogous, similar to what, as you said, happened in the Caribbean. But there it's the selling of citizenship, and with that you get your passport for $100,000, $200,000 or something like that. We've also done that, but of course we don't have citizenship. We've also done that by offering people globally permanent residency certificates. So with your bad public policies, you're driving your own people out of the country, and you're bringing in those who are only going to exacerbate that problem.
But also have access to some of the best quality housing and properties in Bermuda.
Oh, no doubt. It's called displacement. Yeah. It's gentrification.
While we find low income housing
and stuff it in an overcrowded
There you go.
neighborhoods,
There you
and
go.
your quality of life.
Yeah.
And the black middle class is eroding. That's what income and wealth inequality at high levels does.
I would ask this question. I mean, it's interesting that the Bowes Island area is being targeted for this development, because if you go further west,
Is there any more west after that?
no.
Ireland. Dockyard.
Ireland, along Elizabeth Road.
My great-grandfather.
Prime real estate there, in excess of $14 million, they say, for that real estate. But go ahead, caller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous what's going on here. Good evening, gentlemen.
It is.
Evening,
well.
sir.
I am black business. Eh?
Yeah.
Yes, it is. I am a black business. And I put out for some workers. I hire Barbadians, right? Through workforce development. It's just Bermuda job board and the workforce development for all. How the hell I get an application from a gentleman that's from the Philippines with all his credentials who comes here on a cruise ship 4 times,
Been happening for a long time.
a week,
Yes, sir.
through the summer. How is this possible? How does this work?
Well, why not? I mean, shoot. You know, he's working on the cruise ship. He has his so many hours off when it docks, and I'm sure he networks with other Filipinos who are here. And what a great opportunity here! What a great opportunity here in Bermuda. Why not?
It's been happening for...
It's been happening for years, but
years.
hey.
See, this is part of the economy that people aren't fully aware of. And the Department of Immigration, successive ministers support that. Of course, they're not going to say that publicly and help themselves politically. But that is part of what I call this sort of hidden economy, this scam economy.
Well, you also talk about the two Bermudas. It helps to feed the two Bermudas.
You know.
Or create the greater divide. I wouldn't say feed it, but it creates the greater divide of the two Bermudas.
And which that's why, look, racial disparities have grown in Bermuda. Believe it or not, since 1998, in the last 2.5 years, racial disparities have grown in Bermuda. And it's been these types of insidious practices that has caused that. Like I said, very quickly, and don't hang up, caller. The Mincy report highlighted a very important finding. That was that between 1997 and 2007, half of all of your high school students, black males, because that's what the study was focusing on, had by entered high school, Berkeley, and more so Cedar Bridge, in S1, by S4, they had disappeared. In other words, they didn't graduate. But that should not be the end of their lives. In a country like Bermuda, I'll repeat one more time, Bermuda, listen to me. Your GDP per capita is 138,935, the fourth highest in the world. If you have a high school diploma or don't have a high school diploma, you still should be able to earn a decent standard of living. How could they, when you and your governments plural, have allowed this immigration scam to continue decade after decade to the extent that they can't even afford to work in hospitality? You hear me?
Thanks a lot, caller.
That's from the same thing about it.
But guess what was hiring? Guess what was hiring them? They could always get a job here. The drug trade, gang formation, gang violence, murder.
We're gonna elaborate on that one.
All right.
Thanks a lot, caller.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah.
All right.
I guess this is I mean, man, 90 minutes been quick.
No way.
90 minutes been quick, man.
It sounded like a Bermudian.
Yeah, 90 minutes been real quick.
Hey, it's only 9:20.
Our Civil War, because this is something else that Professor Yang spoke to. You know, the Civil Wars, and you see it globally.
We got to go back globally before we leave.
Well,
wrap up.
We'll wrap up because that's where we're going. I mean, when we hit the foreign wars, that's when we hit the global. But when we talk about the Civil Wars breaking out, it's no, and you've hit it. It's no surprise why we have the increase in the gang violence. When you look at the economic disparities that we've been talking about, when we see and bear witness to the decline of democracy, increased bureaucracy, authoritarianism, and I know people might say, "Oh, we don't." I know some people even accuse. Well, we heard Brother Santucci almost. There's no way your premier should be your minister of finance. I mean, I know there are people who accuse the premier of being a dictator. Far from it, but still, we get their sentiments. We understand their sentiments.
Dictator? I'm not sure.
Nah, he's no dictator.
Ruthless as hell? Yes. Go
Okay,
ahead.
that's you. Good night, you and all friends.
Must be a JLP background.
Yes.
Dr. Lou, I forgot to mention, just briefly, the Grand Atlantic. When PLP got back in 2017, and they took over that Grand Atlantic, they should have left it as it was. They should not try to do any renovations to it. Those renovations have exceeded $124 million. Who can afford to rent those places at $3,000 and $7,000 per month?
You're talking right there on the cliff.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what they should do.
But in terms of the rental right there now, I mean, they look like they're being occupied, but not by Bermudians, are they?
No. Well, they said, the housing minister said that it's 68% occupied, and then someone else said that it's only about five families or 5 people living there. I don't know who to believe, but as far as I'm concerned,
they were
as it is now, they should rent those places out to Bermudians at a reasonable rent, because it's their fault for renovating that place, letting the former minister of Works and Engineering to spend over $124 million in that place,
right?
To rent it out to. Was it the Hilton? Was it the Hilton they were gonna rent it out to?
I'm not sure who was the Hilton. I'm not sure.
And then they canceled that. They said, no, we don't want to do that now.
Because there were plans also for, well, there may be still plans for hotel development out, what's in the area, but not Aswitz. I call them Aswitz because the former judge. Yeah, behind the gas station. Yeah.
Down the back there,
because that there was pegged for hotel development also. Might still be.
And Gilbert Lopes, I think, has that property.
That's still targeted for hotel development.
Right.
Yeah,
all of that area up behind the Warwick Seventh-day Adventist Church, right over on the water side.
I mean, better days are coming in Bermuda, man. I don't know if you and I might see it, but hey,
But that Grand Atlantic,
a lot of hotel development in Bermuda. Elbow Beach, who is it? Sousa, isn't it Sousa, Old Canadian Hotel right there on Reed Street?
That finally started there?
Richards, So, hey, there's a vision, people. There's a vision.
Take that Grand Atlantic and rent it out to Bermudians at a reasonable rate and lower those rates from $7,000 and $3,000 and put it back down to normal market, lower than more market value, and so that Bermudians can have it. Because it was their fault for going and doing that, spending all that money into that, and then they reversed.
Well, let's see if it comes up. Let's see if it comes up on the end of year Christmas list. Let me take the next caller.
Okay.
Good night, you and all friends. Hello. You're there. We're here.
Hello. Good evening, brothers.
Yes. Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you. Yes. Good evening. So, what?
You're breaking up on us.
Okay, is it better now?
Much better.
Okay, cool. So what I'm seeing with regards to immigration matters, it seems to me Bermuda politics is just too soft. It appears that loopholes have existed within immigration policy, law, what have you, for decades, and employers have been able to exploit these loopholes, and nothing is being done to close these.
Well, what's some of the loopholes you're talking about? Do we need some Trumpism here and just outright say you come from this country, you're not coming to Bermuda. But go ahead.
Something, radical, because we're not radical with our politics. And so persons who are, come here, see that we're not radical and are able to easily exploit our borders, and exploit our immigration policies.
It takes a strong, it takes a strong black man, sir, to stand up to power. That's,
we're not lobbying.
Yeah,
where's the lobbying?
Lobby. You just need courageous leaders to stand up to white-dominated business power in the country. Let's stop tiptoeing around here. It starts there. Whose side are you on? Whose side are you going to be on? You're going to be the least of us?
Hang on.
No, see, you're reining me in. See, that's what I'm talking about. See, that's the from you. We're so proper and conservative.
We're messing with. Go ahead, man. Go ahead. Finish. We're messing with.
Go ahead.
But because it's not only whites that are exploiting.
Oh, sure, right, yeah, sure. See, Lou, I told you. Here we go.
Not only whites.
Here we go. No. It's yellows and greens too. Yeah.
But again, what I'm seeing is that the root causes that our politics is just way too soft. I mean,
well, you're being soft. You're an example of the softness. You.
Oh my God!
Hey, you can't say the government's soft and then
yes, politics. Our politics is soft. We practice soft politics in this country.
But you just said you got to be radical. We got to be radical, and the government's too soft.
Yeah,
Commissioner Young has put you on the spot. And made it very clear where the radicalism has to be centered.
Yes, this administration could use a bit of radicalism, certainly. I mean, it's enough to go around, I think.
Yeah.
All right.
And so it is unfortunate. Yeah, I mean, when employers could simply say, well, have you committed any crime? And and so the applicant says yes, and we talk about maybe got caught was 30 years ago. That's enough for that.
Let me ask you.
That is the exception. That is the exception to the rule. That's not the rule.
Let me ask you this here. A year has passed.
What do you mean by exception?
No, let me ask you this here. A year has passed, right? And you're a frequent caller on the issues on this show. A year has passed. How would you grade this government?
Well, I'm not trying to grade. I mean, what I'm saying is that our politics is just too soft. We got to get a bit more radical in our politics. Bermudians, as has been already said many times.
Well, let me put it to you this way.
Bermudians are fleeing.
Let me put it to you this way.
It's going to call for
from February.
They're not, and really begin to become radical and insert some radical policies that they're not ever. Now we hear immigration reform.
Okay, we might be. I'll ask you this here. What would be your example of a radical policy?
Well, I mean,
and then I'm going to take the next caller. What would be your radical policy?
One that comes to mind is that we no longer allow employers to simply strike Bermudians off because of some low, frivolous crime that was committed 30 years.
That is the exception to the rule, sir. You need to deal it with. No, but I'll tell you, it needs to be done at the structural level. You need to stop allowing them to pay. Look, the crux of the matter is, I repeat one more time my mantra. They've been using low-cost, low to medium-skilled foreign labor to drive down wages. So what is the answer to that? Raise the statutory wages to living wages. And then put other reforms in there. Well, that's what I tried to do freaking 10 years ago.
Yeah. I support.
And thanks for your support.
Initiative, certainly. But I think that we can go a step further.
But you're saying we could go.
Tighten up. We got to tighten up these.
Hey, cousin, I'm going to tell you right now.
We're going to tighten up. I want to listen to the next caller. I want you to ponder on the radicalism policies that you have in mind. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, I just did.
All right. We got you.
Okay, yeah.
Good night, you know. Turn your radio down.
Hey, we may be too late. I'll tell you the truth.
Go ahead.
Very briefly.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to have to repeat something that I've said on a number of different occasions.
Mm-hmm.
what I just listened to now, happening between you and the last caller, has been put in place. What has happened is we have a system.
Thank you.
That has been put in place to cause what we see happening now.
Yeah.
Us to be arguing amongst ourselves. And the solution, quite frankly, is very simple. Your last overseas caller, he gave me a right on the spot. The question is, these conversations, we've had them from time and time again. But what we need to do really is take some decisive action. Ralph Commission is too smart for these people. I'm being sort of facetious to some extent.
There you go.
And the answer is quite clear. We have a system that was put in place by the colonists who have a history of having raped, murdered, etc. our people.
Thank you.
And they still are now in control of the land. That's ridiculous. Your last caller talking about something radical. The answer is simple. We just have to command and sort of seize the opportunity to make our own decisions, pure and simple. With regard to the premier being the finance minister, ridiculous. Particularly when you have the most qualified person in his team. But that goes on another part where it speaks to a number of issues about our premier. We had a series of town hall meetings recently discussing matters, etc. Each time, our premier has been overseas doing whatever. The first town meeting we had, it was explained that the premier had already had some previous appointment, whatever. However, this should have taken precedent over anything else. He's on in Dubai talking to somebody. My point is that this administration has clearly demonstrated, in my view, the total lack of concern for the average man in the street, quite frankly. The Progressive Labour Party have, to some extent, sort of lost their way. There's so much hypocriteness going on that is...
No, big time.
Yes, and what we need to... the solution is quite simple.
All right.
And a lot of things have to be repeated because our people seem to have difficulty in sort of catching on. And like I say, the system is designed for us to be arguing with each other.
Well,
instead of planning and acting to make some changes.
Well, I would say this here
I would say that I see some light at the end of the tunnel.
Oh, okay.
Hey, how did you know that? I'm actually shining a light right now.
I was just going to say.
How did he know that?
I was going to say that some of the light at the end of the tunnel with all of the argument and the disagreements have been at least the organization of persons like yourself, Commission and others, calling an assembly of people. Let's hash this out. Let's derive some real solutions. Let's put them forward. Let's challenge the government of the day to add it to their summits, add the voices of the people to the decision making, whether it's a referendum on CARICOM or anything else. The organization meetings that have been going on, to me, is a testament to the fact that solutions have been derived from these meetings. And to go with it is now the actions that yourself and others have put forward.
Yeah, but it always hits a brick wall when you tell them, okay, let's go. Are you ready? And let's take on this entrenched system of power, because that's the only way we can then ensure that we truly have a more equitable society.
Well,
then you look around, I don't know if we'll ever
have a society of equity.
I said a more equitable. Didn't I say more equitable?
Thanks a lot, caller.
All right.
Hey,
okay, take care.
the Civil War has already begun. Yeah?
Yeah, it has to.
And we were reflecting on that in terms of, we see evidence of it globally.
Right. Yeah. You have to take a side now. You have to take a side now.
On the local side.
That's right.
On the local side, we see the assault on us as a people.
Yeah.
We see the persecution, the execution that we see going on with our young black males. Yeah. And you've made it very clear. Much of it is attributed also to the economic disparities.
Big time.
That's
ground zero.
In the fourth largest GDP
per capita
in the world.
And then right now, and your
Bermuda
debt
is another word.
Yeah, but your debt to GDP ratio is at 35%. All economists will tell you if you have a debt to GDP ratio over 60%, that's the light turning red. Right?
Right.
You're at debt to GDP for this year is projected to be 35%. Right? You're in green.
Yeah.
So put that plus your GDP per capita, your PPP, purchasing power parity, which is probably going to have a similar sort of proportionally signal as your debt as your GDP per capita. So it means that's why that slogan in my last op-ed that the Royal Gazette put in there. Thank God, poverty is a political choice, and I guess when you got anti-black racism by blacks sometimes, and maybe it's too many of them in the seat of power in government around here. Maybe those people can wait.
Well, you're answering the question.
Yeah, exactly.
How people in power think and behave. Go ahead, caller.
First of all, I'd like to say you guys being number 2 hosts. Right? So,
thank you. I agree with that.
I heard myself, the housing minister, say that Bermudiana, which the gentleman is talking about.
Bermudiana.
That Bermudiana is under Bermuda housing, and that foreigners cannot rent from Bermuda housing. So how in the world do you have foreigners renting up in Bermudiana? It's going to make one his word.
Well, maybe that's part of...
He publicly stated that they cannot rent from Bermuda housing.
Well, I say this here, they're not going to let them stay empty too long. I mean, for as long as they have been empty, or were empty.
They don't have to be empty. If they lower the rent, then they'll get people.
Yeah.
You can't afford $3,000, and they say the place is leaking like a Harry. And number 2, it comes in no fridge and stuff.
Ah, Jesus.
Bermuda's another world, brother.
$3,000 studio for 4 rooms and a bathroom.
Now,
poverty is a political choice.
Thanks a lot, caller.
Yeah, thanks.
Point taken. Rolf. Gaza, Ukraine, Russia, Burkina Faso,
Venezuela. My cousin's mother was from Venezuela. My Trinidadian first cousin.
The Caribbean Sea is under attack. I say the Caribbean Sea. We see that Trinidad, your heritage land, have sold themselves to Uncle Sam. They've opened up the airport and the airways and the seaways. I think Jamaica's looking to follow suit.
Same mentality. Now the government in Trinidad.
I asked this question, Bermuda, CARICOM. When we see this, what are we buying into with CARICOM at this critical period, during this critical period? Because Prime Minister Beckles I mean, Hillary, not
Which country?
Motley.
Oh, in
Barbados.
Yeah, distant cousin, yeah.
Yeah. Has made it very clear. The assault has begun on the Caribbean.
No,
right?
Let's broaden it. This assault has begun on the global south.
The assault has begun on the global south.
This part of the battle is now looking to.
It's on the global south. It's on the global south.
That's how Europe enriched itself.
And I was just reading
hundreds of years ago.
I was just reading and looking at. They were talking about the military might of America on the south right now, right? As they surround Venezuela. And, there's talking about the top militaries of the world. Of the top 5, U.S. has 4. Right? Only Russia falls in there at number 3. But the rest are all of the military branches of the United States.
Yeah. They underestimate China.
Not so well.
And only because China has not fought a major war. In maybe 3-4 decades.
With the Japanese.
But in terms of their military, the production of high-tech and advanced weaponry.
They can match. But don't have as many, but they can match. But hey, what's one atomic bomb? You can do, if you all have it.
Brother, I'm telling you, I'm telling you.
So the foreign wars.
Yeah.
And so when I think and look at where we are right now globally in the end of 2025, and you've been writing, like I said, on what's going on in Gaza, Palestine, Israel, what we see going on right now, Venezuela, U.S., African continent. What do you envision the first 3 months of the new year, looking at how we're ending?
I think that we are in a time of great peril for the world. That's all I can say right now on that. It's not going to, what we're seeing now is not going to, it's going to follow us, and it's going to get worse as you move into 2026.
So, 2026, you would say, with what we started off at the beginning of the show with Professor Yang, the predictions have already begun. He's already close. We see evidence of economic collapse, you're saying.
Yeah.
We see great decline of democracy.
Remember, we're tied to the U.S. dollar.
Yeah.
Right? And the U.S. dollar is going to lose, it's already started, it's going to lose its reserve currency status.
Yeah.
All right. That means then...
Do we anticipate, knowing that is going to occur, not justifies, but certainly war is imminent with the United States taking the rest of the world with them.
The end of empire is always messy, to put it lightly.
The end of empire.
That's what we're seeing.
And I'll ask you this in foreign words: with the end of the empire, and many American historians, all of them been saying the same thing. Given what you write about in the end of the empire, who replaces it? I have been reading how Israel will come to replace, in terms of American dominance falling, the role that Israel will play in emerging as a dominant power. I don't see that. What's your thought about it, given that you've been writing much about what's going on between Israel, Gaza?
Israel is a Israel is a key ally, a key cog in the Anglo-American dominated West. Okay, what you saw happen to those Palestinians in Gaza, that was an allied effort to keep their hold on their control of the Middle East. The other allies who were complicit in the genocide and continue to be the Emirates and the Saudis. Their problem is that there are kingdoms. They were established by the Anglos as the British. The Americans found a way to use their dominance in the oil trade to wean themselves off the gold standard. And by having an agreement with them that they would only sell their oil in dollars. That's what backed up the U.S. currency and has for the last 50 years. Okay? The Saudis are deeply opposed to political Islam, which is what the PLO represented and what Hamas represents, of the Muslim Brotherhood. That's why they're deathly afraid of seeing the rise of political Islam take place. And that way they have some sort of, although the relationship has sort of turned in a different direction. Like they weren't necessarily, in some ways, they agree or were quite happy to see Israel. They'll never admit it. Those kingdoms run by these families do some of their dirty work against Hezbollah, against Iran, and otherwise. But no, we're entering a time of great peril, and I don't think Bermudians really understand it. So we're talking about the global minimum tax. Who knows the relief and the ability to get the sort of revenues that can allow us to.
Please hold, caller. Turn your radio down. No, we got to turn it off.
The type of revenues that can allow us to belatedly address some of these deeply structural inequalities in Bermuda, tied to an intersection with race and racial disparities. And, you can't ignore that. And even in Bermuda, you used to hear so much about it. I'm writing a piece now, and you remember the last few years we heard people talking about, those in the old days, and you talk about race and all that. Our children go to school together, and da. We heard all that for years. Well, if anybody is still in denial that white supremacy is resurgent in the world, then there's something wrong with them, because that's precisely what
they're delusional.
They're delusional.
Yeah. Caller, go ahead. You're the last caller.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Lou. Brother Ralph there, a very interesting conversation tonight. A whole lot of things came to the floor.
Thank you.
The ending of the year, and a lot of it is actually in need of serious consideration, what was mentioned by the callers and yourself and also Dr. Lou. But one thing I want to put front and center for the next year, in the sense of what I think I would like to see the government do, is to take our housing situation into very serious consideration.
Right.
And we're looking for high-end housing building for the people of Bermuda. We're not looking at a little piece here, a little piece there. We have the land, we have the outside technology that we could use to help us to build this in short space of time. And the ministry for that department needs to take a serious look at that, And housing is so important in the sense of bringing your community and your country together. That's important.
Right.
If we can take, what I'm saying is this: what I have seen in this year and years before that through both parties is that we seem to be using the taxpayers' money to bail out out of businesses who run into issues of their own bad management or out of their own bad investment. And we have to come up with $250 million there. do $170 or $75 million there for all these different projects in which that the so-called supposedly investors coming from overseas, you know, have even...
Well, we're speculated that we're to receive the receipt of the corporate income tax may draw some $200 million, so we'll see.
Yeah, well, what I'm
he's talking about something different.
Yeah, I know what he's talking about, but I'm saying where money's coming from.
What I'm saying is this: is that if we can raise that kind of money, you know, and I'm so disappointed in not the finance minister that we have now, but the finance minister that we had before, who basically used that South Princess as a political football to gain some leadership role in the party, other than looking at it as a vision of building national pride. We could have bought South Princess for $50 million. If we can take $200 million or $250 million to bail out the Morgan's Point, if we can take $75 million of the taxpayers' money, not taking it, but securing a loan for them in that price, we could have bought the South Princess and built national pride in this country. This is what we're looking for. We're looking for leadership to ownership. I got this international money coming in where we could be doing things directly for the Bermudian people. The government of Bermuda, which is the people's government, is the biggest business in the island. And we can't be hearing this thing about, oh, we shouldn't be earning a hotel. We shouldn't be earning no hotel. We shouldn't be earning our own ship. And we need to see a government that's got vision.
Well, I think that's a place to exit on.
We need to see a government that's got vision into leadership and ownership for the people of Bermuda. We have the money, and so if we can support and have the credit to be able to bring money forward, to bail these businesses out like the banks, South Princess, and all that money that the taxpayers that they use to come up. Yes, we got some of it back. But we should also look at investing that money directly, especially this international money, directly into what we Bermudians need.
All right.
Good point.
All right.
We are looking for
good point. Good point. Good point. Thanks a lot.
A good point. At the end there, he made it very clear. Yeah.
Very clear. Well, look, all we can say
all we can are saying
the week before Christmas. The week before Christmas.
I can't believe. I thought Christmas still seems a long way from me.
No, it's next week. Christmas is next week.
Wow.
I would say we opened this show with Professor Yang giving his predictions for the next 5 to 10 years. And with his prediction, he said the writing is on the wall. Decline of democracy and freedom. We see evidence of that right now. Economic collapse. We see evidence of that globally, predictably, certainly in the U.S.
Look how far.
Immigration issues and concerns. Well, hey, we're front and center with that. Civil war. We frame it within, I guess, our realities of what we are experiencing in terms of what we're wrestling with the gangs. I don't know how many guns have been submitted for amnesty.
Yeah, you could very well see a civil war in the 21st century style or way in the U.S.
It's begun there already. It's begun.
Yeah.
And of course, foreign wars. And with what we see going on in the Caribbean Sea, we should be asking ourselves, what is our collaborative partnership with CARICOM? Because CARICOM is certainly divided in the actions that are going on in the Caribbean Sea. And given that we see ourselves, well, we are associate members, but we are looking to become full-time members.
But we have, what do you call that?
Will there be a democratic action or referendum where you, the people, have a voice in it? we remain to see if that will be reality.
I mean, that's a side issue right now.
Yeah.
You know, I mean. Yeah, the Anglos will keep bringing that up. You know, that's all part of their whole.
Well, distractions? You treat that as a distraction?
Their whole racist crap.
Yeah.
But the piracy in the Pirates of the Caribbean are back in the 21st century style. Okay?
Boy.
Western predation, right? Predation is all the rage once again, and it goes with that operation model, that operation manual called white supremacist ideology.
That tanker is on its way to America.
So, but let me tell you. Let's say this. Right? Believe your lying eyes. Look what you saw over the last 2 years in Gaza. Okay, that's not just the Zionist Israelis. Okay, that's them and their Western allies: Germany, France, the UK, and the US, of course, the boss ally. All of them were complicit in the evil you saw right before your eyes. That genocide, children getting murdered, even as we talk right now, they're getting murdered. Huh? 2 weeks ago, we already had a peace deal. Trump's abomination of a peace deal. And there was 2 young 8-year-old boys accidentally walked across an invisible yellow line. In what was once Gaza is now the Israelis are saying, we're going to take over this part of it, a big chunk of it for themselves. And they shot those 2 little 8-year-old boys dead. Yesterday or the day before yesterday.
Away in a manger.
Hey, we saw.
Away in a manger.
I mean, look, we even had
away in a manger,
we had
brother.
pro-genocide people up in that city hall the other day.
In the heart of Bethlehem.
Hey, Lou.
We make no mockery of it, but this is the reality.
Lou, we had pro-genocide supporters of Israel
coming out of Bethlehem
in an event at City Hall.
Yeah.
With Wayne Keynes and Owen Darrow in attendance.
Look, it's been a very engaging night with you.
That's what 2026 is presenting to us. Okay?
Yes.
That's what the West is.
But we keep hope alive.
What was that great black author, Lou? The sister she's dead now, but she had that down in she came from down the South. When they show you who they are.
Maya Angelou.
When they show you who they are the first time, believe.
Yeah.
But
she said it.
Yeah. How many? Lou,
here's what we are end on tonight.
Yeah, go ahead.
Listen up.
I'll try. It's difficult.
It's defense. When Asia builds coalitions, it's economic growth.
Let me start that over.
So why does unity only become a problem when it's black nations doing it? Every time the Caribbean tries to move together, somebody suddenly gets nervous. ECO was a threat. CARICOM too political. African Union partnerships destabilizing. But when Europe links up, it's called cooperation. When America forms alliances, it's defense. When Asia builds coalitions, it's economic growth. So why do the rules change when the skin tone changes? If you're not sharing this, you're doing exactly what they want. Forgetting that the world prefers black nations divided, silent, and competing for scraps. Look at the record. When Grenada reached out to Africa, they invaded. When Haiti beat Europe, they punished us with sanctions and shame. When the Caribbean tried a shared market, they flooded us with foreign goods to kill it. Every attempt at unity has been met with fear, sabotage, or debt. Ask yourself, why is it dangerous when black nations cooperate? Why do they only preach solidarity when it keeps us weak? And who really benefits when we stay disconnected? Because deep down, they know what our ancestors knew. If the Caribbean and Africa ever fully unite, the global balance shifts forever. Comment your flag. Should black nations build their own alliances without asking the world for approval? Share this if you know. Power isn't given. It's built together. Why does unity only be...
There you go. Power isn't given. It's built together. Hey,
who was that?
Well, you know who it was. I don't know. These days on
AI is.
It's no, it's not. It's not AI. Well, it is AI generated. Yeah.
But you know,
coming out of the history of the Caribbean archives, it says. But hey, pertinent and relevant to the statements made by
that was very good.
General Commission.
I thought that you put together that very, very good. I'll tell you this.
I'll tell you this, my people. Have a
We need solidarity.
Merry Christmas. Happy Kwanzaa. Hanukkah. All of the above. Keep the peace, people. Keep the peace. And remember, we don't fight on any one front. We fight on all fronts.